What's up, guys? It's Bobgar. So this week I wanted to do a short segment on about Cube, what it is, and show you guys my Cube a little bit. Just because I thought that would be a fun thing to do on this week where I'm not recording normal match videos because I'm having people over to play Cube. And because my work is a little bit crazy and I just kind of need a week off from making videos. I make a lot of videos and I also have a full-time job that's often more than a 40-hour week job. So it just eats into me a little bit sometimes when I'm doing a 5 to 10 hour job of making YouTube videos on top of that. So I'm doing one that's a little lighter this week. And so I laid out a few cards here. These are kind of some iconic cards in each color for my cube. I probably should put colored cards together with these colorless ones at the end. I don't know why. I'm just obsessive like that. Alright. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of walk through. So for those who don't know, let me start by saying what cube is. Basically, cube is a set of cards. So I can see my cube over here. All of these black cards in my cube. It's basically a set of cards that you build. You take 15 out at random, every person does, and you draft them like you would draft if you were opening a 15-card pack. So you just take cards randomly from here, draft them, and you draft like you normally would. You go through about 3 packs usually. You can change things up depending on how many players there are. Sometimes with 4 players, you do smaller packs and more of them so that you don't see as much wheeling. Sometimes with really few players, there's special draft modes like Winchester and Winston and different things that you can do. I'm not going to go over all those right now, but more or less you use it to draft repeatedly with a set of cards that you like a lot. And one of the cool things about it is you get to draft with a lot of the most powerful cards in Magic, and it's free to play. It's almost like a board game. You buy it once, and then you can draft it with your friends forever. You can just keep doing it over and over again. I have one. I don't draft it super often. I've drafted it a couple times recently because my coworker has some friends that are into this stuff, which is good, and so I'm making some new friends there. And yeah, they came over today, and we got to draft it and eat some cookie and some buffalo chicken dip, and it was a lot of fun. So, a lot of cards, pretty sweet. And let's look at some of the cards that are really fun to play with in my cube, or my favorite ones to draft at least. A lot of these I think are pretty iconic. Starting on the left, we got Emrakul, one of the biggest Magic the Gathering creatures ever printed, and one of the most powerful. Pretty hard to get into play, but as we'll see even just looking across this, there are some ways to cheat it into play. It's a 15/15 Annihilator, 6 protection from all colors, and when it comes into play, well, it can't be countered, and when you cast it, it has a cast trigger where you get an extra turn. It also has protection from colored spells. I don't know if I said that part yet. And if it would go to your graveyard, you shuffle it into your library. So lots of text on it, but it's a 15/15. Annihilator 6 is a little bit game-breaking sometimes. Next up, Skullclamp. A lot of people, Skullclamp might look like kind of an innocuous card, but very powerful. Basically, gives a creature +1/-1, and when the equipped creature dies, you draw 2 cards. You play this in a deck with a lot of token creatures or just really weenie creatures, and you can just draw through your deck really fast by drawing 2 cards for basically just the equip cost of 1 mana. So, super powerful in those style decks. I should have given this one a nice close-up too. Let me do that. Oh yeah, Emrakul. And then moving on to green, I picked out Channel because it's probably the most broken card overall in my cube. It's a really old one, so a lot of people don't know it super well. But basically, you pay 2 green mana, and then until the end of turn, you may add colorless mana to your mana pool at the cost of 1 life. And so, on turn 2, for instance, you can just power out a Emrakul. Or one thing that happened today is on turn 2 in our multiplayer game, one of the people who was over visiting powered out a Ulamog, and then it ended up being basically a 3v1 against them because Ulamog is powerful enough to stop most decks if you get it out turn 2. So yeah, that beats Tron for sure. Tron's not that fast. Channel is a broken Magic card when you get it and when it's good. Then we got a Creator Hoof Behemoth. This rewards you for playing lots of creatures. 8 mana. It kind of goes in a green ramp deck, which most green is pretty rampy. 8 mana, haste. When Creator Hoof Behemoth enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample plus X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So usually if you play this guy down, usually it's just game over. Not always, but usually. Stoneforge Mystic. I didn't put too many things out that combo with it on the table here, but it's a super powerful card. It's banned in a lot of formats, including Modern. 2 mana, 1/2. It has, when you play it, you may tutor your library for an equipment and put it into your hand, and then it has a tap ability A colorless and a white tap, put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. So you can use this to tutor up your Skull Clamp if you have that. Even better if you have something like Batterskull. But yeah, it can be really good. This was actually in my deck this week, and it worked really well. I'm going to go over my deck in a later video and show you guys that. Other one I picked from white, just because, it's a classic. Wrath of God is a super powerful card in all formats, but especially in Cube. Wipes the board, and decks tend to be a little grindy in mid-range. The one disadvantage it has is I do run quite a few Planeswalkers, and obviously it doesn't hit them, but if you're playing it in your deck, this card is probably very, very good. I like this card a lot, and I have a fancy foil from the Vault version that's pretty nice. I like it a lot. Moving on to red. One of the most famous spells ever, Lightning Bolt. Just a little foil Lightning Bolt there. 1 red mana, deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Just always good. Goes in red burn, and also goes in a lot of other things. I thought about putting Sulfuric Vortex out there. That's another kind of defining one, but not so like Lightning Bolt is just so color defining that I thought it was good to show that you got to play with that, and that was in there. And then Sneak Attack is a super neat card. It's an enchantment for 4 mana. When you put a creature card from your hand, or you pay 1 red mana, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. It gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. So, super cool, and it works really well with things like Emrakul. I mean, if you sneak attack in an Emrakul, you get to do 15 damage to your opponent, but more importantly, you also get to annihilate or 6 them, so they have to sacrifice 6 permanents when it attacks, and that's usually just game-breaking. So yeah, Sneak Attack's a really cool combo card. Moving on to black, we got another classic. This is a revised Demonic Tutor, so you may search your library for up to 1 card in your deck and put it into your hand and shuffle your library. 2 mana, get any card out of your deck. As you can tell with things like Channel and Sneak Attack and these combo-y things, even Stoneforge Mystic, being able to tutor for whatever you want is super powerful. And then I chose Recurring Nightmare. We have some other ones like Animate Dead, which are probably more classic, but Recurring Nightmare I think is just the sweetest reanimate. And black is pretty heavy reanimate theme. This is 3 mana enchantment. So you sacrifice a creature you control, you return Recurring Nightmare to your hand, and you put target creature card from your graveyard into play. You can only play it as a sorcery. It's usually not a big deal. But yeah, this allows you to use Reanimate not only to reanimate giant creatures, but it also allows you to kind of push Reanimate into those grindy decks where you could, you wouldn't feel bad about reanimating your Reflector Mage or something like that. Just because, yeah, it's not a big creature to reanimate, but you get its effect, and you can just sack it again and reanimate something else next turn. So just kind of a 3 mana repeated reanimate is just super powerful, and I just absolutely love this card. It's very much of a build around card. You can build a whole deck around this thing, kind of. Alright, and then moving on, definitely also one of my favorite cards, Treachery, 5 mana, control magic, but it also has an additional benefit that control magic does not. When it comes into play, untap up to 5 lands. So basically, if you're playing it turn 5 plus, and sometimes earlier if you have ramp, because we do have a bunch of ramp in the deck, it is just a free control magic, and you still get to do other stuff. You can hold up control magic, other counter magic, so that they can't kill the creature you control and things like that. So I really, really like Treachery. I think it's super powerful and super fun card. And if I see it in a pack, I'm quite often likely to first pick it. Blue is one of my favorite colors in Cube, and I think this is a very sweet card. And then finally, we got an El Jaso, the Mind Sculptor. This is from the Vault Relics, a nice little foiling there. A lot of people don't like the From the Vaults, but I like them a lot. As long as you keep them double-sleeved like my whole cube is, they don't tend to warp too much as far as I can tell. And yeah, this card is really good. It's one of the best cards ever printed. It's banned for a reason in almost every format. 4 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker. You can +2 to basically Fate Seal your opponent. You get to look at the top card of their library, and you may put it at the bottom of their library if you want. Or you can keep it on top. So basically you get to scry one on your opponent, which is what called Fate Seal, and I think Time Spiral, they decided to call it Fate Seal. 0 ability is basically a Brainstorm. Draw 3, put 2 back. Has a -1, you can return target creature to its owner's hand. And the -12, let me actually read it because I don't know if I've ever done it. Exile all cards from target player's library. Then that player shovels his or her hand into his or her library. So often game winning. I mean, if they're empty handed, it probably just wins on the spot because your opponent's going to draw it their next turn and just not be able to draw anything and lose. But super sweet. And then, yeah, so those are just some iconic cards from it. But basically, you shuffle these all up. You're probably not going to get all like a hand that looks like a. You're not going to get a pack that looks this good, but you're going to get a pack with a bunch of random stuff here. I'll just grab out some random stuff, see what our pack might look like. I'm going to clear these off so that we get them out of the way. And then we could kind of like just feel what it would be like. Like you'd get a 15 card pack like this. I think these are all going to be in frame pretty much. Maybe a little high. Move these up slightly. I might cut around this part a little bit. All right. Is everything in frame? Yes, everything's pretty much in frame. Maybe a few sneaking out there a little bit. But you'd open a pack like this and you'd say, oh, what do I want? So when I look at this pack, what do I see? I like Pack Rat a lot just because it's a house on its own. Control Magic is pretty powerful. Some Simulacrum is pretty powerful. I like Looter Core. I think I rate it higher than most people. Ramp's not bad. This ramp might be even better. This one's a weird one. You can only use it to ramp 3 once, and then you have to pay 3 to untap it again. But if you're really trying to hit your 6 drops early, it could be very good. And there's also a few things like Tezzeret here. Like you could take this and hope to wear Tezzeret, because I find Tezzeret doesn't go very high. And Tezzeret would let you untap this for free every turn, basically. So that would end up being a huge ramp. That might be where I pushed this year. I like the artifact theme a lot. That's what I drafted today. I tend to push it maybe more than I should, but I do like it a lot. So I could see going this. If I wheel that, I'm pretty happy. And if not, there's just a whole bunch of other pretty good cards that I could wheel. I'd probably wheel something that I was pretty happy about seeing. Even Frost Titan I wouldn't be too disappointed with. Jiraga Tree Speaker is one of the best ramp cards just because you play it turn 1 and then turn 2 it can already tap for 2 mana if you're willing to put the 2 mana into it. Yeah, I like this pack a lot, actually. This is a pretty well-balanced pack. There's nothing that stands out too high, nothing that seems too far behind. Probably the worst thing here is Rexage, and it's not really that Rexage is bad. It's just a little too situational. I find it often doesn't make my main board just because I'm too into doing whatever I'm doing, but there are enough artifact synergies that it wouldn't be bad to play one main board. If I had to pick, what would I actually pick? It would be really hard for me to resist Control Magic. I just like Control Magic effects too much. I think I would probably take Pack Rat just because I think it's the best on its own. It also cuts black from the pack, which is a little interesting, which is going to force the person you pass to take at least one card in something other than black. So I think that would probably be my take, but I also am very tempted by Control Magic and by the Basalt Monolith there. I think those are the 3 that I'm looking at as the absolute most tempting. And then a bunch of the other ones are also tempting, just probably not going to make the cut. Jiraga I like a lot. Looter and Solemn I like a lot. Those 3 are all pretty tempting. I like Frost Titan as a finisher, but I don't think it's premium enough to get it as the first pick. That's kind of how I would look at this pack and kind of like do it. Also, I wanted to show you my actual cube box and my cube. So now that we're done talking about the packs, so I have a pretty fancy little cube box. It basically looks like a suitcase. You can pick it up, carry it around. It's pretty sweet. I was thinking about doing a review for it. I think it's a Rep Gaming MTG1. I don't know whether that could be right. Hopefully that's right. If not, yeah, I don't know. If not, I don't know. It's really nice, and it's also pretty big. These are double sleeved, so it fits. I don't run the biggest cube. I like to keep it pretty small, so it's only 360. But 360 fits in less than half of the cube by quite a bit. These are just spare sleeves. These are some cards that used to be in it that I didn't have the heart of removing from the box in case I ever feel like swapping them in again. These are some tokens for it. And it actually fits not only my main cube here, which is the one I'm showing you that has, in my opinion, kind of the slightly more powerful cards. It also has the secondary cube, which is my multiplayer cube, which has a bunch of, like, let me see if I can find a good one. It has some random stuff too, but it also has a lot of, like, don't know if you can see that. That's Thorn of the Black Rose, I mean, which is fine in normal cube too, but it's especially good in kind of multiplayer because it does the whole Monarch thing. Has a lot of things like that. It has Queen Marchesa here. It's a lot of like Commander and Conspiracy cards. I haven't done as good a job maintaining it as I might like to, so there's not a perfect cube certainly, but it's pretty fun. I like the idea. I mean, it has a lot of the things you would see in normal cube. Like I just passed an Animate Dead as I've been like flipping through here. I run all the Hondens in it just because I love Hondens, but I don't have the heart to put them in my main cube because they're not quite good enough. Things like that. yeah, I just figured I would share that with you, show you what I do. If anybody has cube related questions, for some reason there's some blank sleeves in here. It's a little weird. Those aren't supposed to be in there. Oh, there's a whole bunch of blank sleeves. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know what's going on there. Anything cool? I like the crew lands. I mean, those actually probably are playable in the main cube, but I don't have them in. But crew lands are pretty sweet. Then just things like, oh, giant dragons. You gotta love it. Cards that aren't, a lot of them aren't quite good enough for the main cube, but they're just super good in this. Oh, and it also has neat ones. Like, I think this one's pretty neat. This is a Hidden Agenda one. Adriana's Valor. Hidden Agenda. So at the start of the game, you start the game with this conspiracy face down in the command zone, and secretly name a card. You may turn this conspiracy face up at any time to reveal the card's chosen name. Whenever a creature you control with the chosen name attacks, you may pay a white mana. If you do, that creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So you can kind of surprise give your creature indestructible, and then you can keep doing it over and over again. And this is cool because this indestructible buff is not even a card in your deck. It's just a secret agenda you get to play out for free outside of your deck. So these conspiracies are pretty super valuable. It's not the most valuable one, but pretty cool. Anyway, so that's my secondary deck, which I also like a lot. My secondary cube, which I also like a lot. And yeah, this thing fits them all. My review, I haven't reviewed this, but my review would be pretty good. It has some weirdness, like if you end up clipping some cards on the side when you're closing it, if you're not careful, especially if things aren't full like this, you can see what these would hit. So you got to be a little careful, especially if things aren't packed in tight, that you lean them in, close a little bit carefully so as not to hit things. But mostly closes correctly, mostly acts as you would want. Mostly works to pick it up and carry it around. I have been keeping dice in here. Those do jump from compartment to compartment because the compartments don't go all the way up, so you got to be a little careful with that. And obviously you don't want to be throwing this thing around. I would mostly pick it up like this, carry it to my friend's house, pick it up like this, put it down on the seat of my car or the floor of my car, leave it like that, and when I'm ready to go, pick it up again like this. It works pretty well to hold it like this. It's a little dirty on the bottom, that's right. Works pretty well to hold it like this and carry it around. Never had any bad things happen to my cards doing that, but yeah, you don't want to just throw it around like crazy either. But yeah, I've been really happy with it. They're a little expensive. I think this was like $60 or something. I think I got it on some website that gave me a slight discount, but pretty sweet, like a little mini briefcase. Alright, I think I have talked for way long enough. I'm going to have to cut this down to a video that people would actually watch. I'm going to point this at my face. Alright, I figured out how to spin the camera to face me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, BobGar here. I just really wanted to quickly say, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you enjoy my content in general and would like to see more of it, subscribe. I'll be coming out with more content in the future. And please leave me comments and let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, both in terms of production and in terms of my play and my deck building and all that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.